Right, the game is set up for the campaign game for Reluctant Enemies. Because I expect there to be no serious conflict up in the mountains, I'm just using it as a token dump. So anything past about here is just trash, or the pool of tokens I can grab from when needed. So some brief history. Obviously we're in Syria, in the news a lot of late, and it is the Vichy French versus the Commonwealth. And the main reason for this conflict, in simple terms, during 1941 I believe, was that the British, the Commonwealth, were concerned about their northern flank. They were concerned that after the Axis rolled through Greece, they would roll through Turkey and eventually come down through here. So it's a preemptive sort of movement. Also, prior to this, there was a uprising in Iraq, and they felt by securing this region, they'd be able to secure the region as a whole. A few comments on the game-specific rules for Reluctant Enemies. Roads in Reluctant Enemies can be used in the same way that train lines are for supply. So any unit on this road which connects back to Beirut has tray supply, and if you're within 5 movement points of the road, you're in tray supply. One of the nice bits of chrome, on the first turn there are these free commando companies, and they land somewhere in this area, and I rolled and they came in at the start of the turn. They drifted 1 hex north but succeeded in landing, so straight away these Vichy French units are out of trade supply and they're going to be in trouble. If they can get over here, they'll be back in trade supply, but then they're surrendering the coastal road to this big stack here. So for the Commonwealth, we get the first turn. What do they want to do on this turn? Well, I think the overall objective for the Commonwealth is to basically capture the towns in this area of the board, this area here. They can achieve a sudden death victory if they take the airfield at Ryak, or if they can capture Beirut. The Vichy player is mainly on the defensive, but if they can take any of the Commonwealth supply points, they will automatically win as well. So, objectives for the first turn for the Commonwealth. This is my current thinking. It's a way of saying I'm not an experienced OCS player, and this is my first attempt at soloing through this game, just to see how it works. Supply. We always want to capture as much supply as possible. We always want to make sure that we have supply so that we can actually make attacks and fuel tanks. And we want to make sure that our HQs are in good positions to throw supply further forward. So I want this stack wants to move up this coastal road and eventually get all the way to Beirut. It wants to exploit the fact that the enemy supply is cut off by these commandos. So it wants to move up this coastal road, whack this cavalry company, and try and pinch this. A little further over, we've got 2 more stacks here. These Australians, and they have a HQ with them as well. And then we've got another unit here. So we want to secure our flank and take more supply there. We also want to try and pinch this supply token here. This would also help cut off this unit here, and again help us keep these guys out of supply and on the back foot. So we want to advance down here, advance down here. Don't know what I want to do with these guys. Probably, I think, advance up here in this direction, and then I've got another stack here which I just knocked over, which I don't know how it's going to fare against these guys. I'll have to think about that. But I need to be aggressive because time's always in short supply when you're attacking. Over in the desert in Transjordan, another bit of Chrome rules, the Vichy cannot move into the Transjordan until turn 3. So I've got a few turns grace to sort out what I want to do. So this is actually safe from this guy if I wasn't to do anything. However, he's sitting on supply again. Technically speaking, you can't actually look at your opponent's stacks, so that's a bit cheating. But I want to move up here and try and take him out. I do want to control the train lines. Although I don't need them for supply because I can use roads, you get, I think it's 1 or 2 train cap points per turn, which basically means I can just move units or even supply points, whiz them up and down roads, which is very useful. The Victory player's got quite a few units way out in the desert, which I guess I'll have to keep them in mind if they'll come storming in. For this sort of, I guess, playthrough log, I'm not going to cover every moment of every turn. I'll probably do some worked examples, just to give a bit more rules tutorial, when interesting things come up. So I'll probably work through a combat at some point, I'll probably work through an artillery barrage at some point, and I'll probably look at the aircraft rules at some point when I do some air missions, just as and when they come up. There's not a whole lot of air in this game. At the start, I've just got 2 air units down here in this off-map holding box. And the French, most of their air, which is just really just a few units, are up here. And they can use this holding box as well, which represents this airfield. Interestingly, the French get to refit for free here. They don't have to spend supply to do it, which is quite cool. And a lot of planes come in later on. Well, not a lot, a few extra. As we move around the turn chart. Okay.